Great.
No worries. I'll leave you with the muting of people. So first thing to say is welcome to the webinar. It's good to have you here. And from what I've been hearing, lots of great stuff going on in terms of Lego Mindstorms and people coming up with different solutions. And I'm sure as the event approaches, there's those usual feelings of thinking, have we done enough, and will people be good enough, and things. And really need to emphasize that the whole idea of the activity is that it's just children, young people being involved in using robotics to attempt to solve problems. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And having attended similar events, at the heart of it is a sense of enjoyment and fun. And, you know, sometimes that requires a little bit of reflection and to say, well, next time we do it differently. I get the real enjoyment about just seeing people taking part, and you need to carry that into the competition. You've got 7 challenges, and originally when you set out, there was a shorter time scale to complete those challenges, but you've actually got 5 minutes now to do the challenges. I think the most important document is the one that Erica referred to before, and that's now up on the website, and that's the little document that shows the scoring for the challenge. And if you go through that, it's a really good idea of how you're going to get the points quickly and easily. And also, if something doesn't go 100%, the fact that you still might pick up 2 points or 1 point. And, you know, those points will soon add up. Now, I'm going to go through the tasks in a minute, but if it was me, I would really concentrate on the tasks that require a robot to push things, because pushing things is a really nice thing for a robot to do. So if I'm going to put the satellite dish up, I would send my robot off to push something, and hopefully the satellite will go up. And it's just building on those very basic ideas that will allow children to get some points on the board and give them a little bit of confidence. In your robot educator software, if you go to Space Challenge and you go to Challenge Missions, you've obviously got all your little missions in there. But just a reminder to people that if you click on, for example, return the rock samples, and as an example, the scoring of this, when you look at your score sheet, if you get all of your rock samples, then you'll get 5 points. If you get 2 of your rock samples, you'll get 2. And if you get 0 to 1, in other words, you've had a go, then you will get 1 point. So again, it doesn't have to be 100% complete. But this is a useful little area to go in, because if you've got the teacher version installed, you'll have this little rather stereotypical apple on a book for teacher mode, and if you just click on it, you'll start to see example solution overviews. And my favorite page, if you click on it, there's a little video there, and the video shows how you might go about solving it, and it'll give you an idea. So driving over the pieces and collecting them all, sweeping them all up, and then when you want to bring them all back, you drop the front end down. And there are different ways of doing that, obviously, but that's a good way of getting across the principle of how you might do it. There are, if you want to go into more detail, there are the little build guides that will take you through the solution, so you can build that exact robot. But what I'd also advise is that you look at the idea of, you know, children are going to be scored on their robot design, and therefore I would have said they're most likely to get more points for their own designs rather than the sort of designs that Lego have come up with. So you've got your little building instructions there, so if you were stuck, you could build your little solution. And there's also little hints and the programs themselves. So if you were really stuck and you wanted the basis of a program, you've got access to a program that will actually carry out the solution. So everything's there for you. Obviously on the day, when there's conversations about how did you design your program, which I'm sure is going to be one of the questions asked during the design robot phase, then if children are just saying, well, we use the ones Lego provided, it would be low scoring because they haven't put any effort into their programming. Now, the program might not work perfectly in terms of providing a solution, but if children can provide a little commentary about how they went about things, then they'll get lots of points for that. You must remember, it's not all about sending the robot round the board to complete the tasks. It's all the process that goes with it. So if I click through, you know, I get where I would position my robot and varying the challenge and mission, which are things, extension activities. I don't think you'll be doing extension activities. I think there's enough in there for you to get on with. But make sure that you're familiar with that little area. So it's challenge missions. So if I do a different one, initiate launch, I'll just double click on it there. And I can get, this is a side that the children would see, but if I click on my little teacher button, then I get a little example solution overview, and I get that all-important, helpful video of how I might do things. And somebody was talking about this one before, and you can obviously come up with all sorts of mechanisms to bring something hard and heavy down. Obviously it has to be out of the EV3 Mindstorms kit and the extension kit, but bringing something heavy down in order to launch the rocket. And this one's actually probably a good example because it does actually use a sensor, but to be honest, I wouldn't use a sensor. I'd drive my robot forward a certain number of rotations, and then my robot will stop, and then I would release my robot hammer and slam it down, and then make my robot come back. When you start, keep things nice and simple and get the points on the board. So make sure you make good use of those little videos. Watch it again because I like that one. And, you know, you imagine the sense of excitement when it happens. On the day, everybody will be really excited. But also, there'll be a real sense of excitement when it just misses or it doesn't unfurl or the robot goes backwards and falls off a table. Those sort of things are going to happen. So make sure you have a little look through all those little videos, and there's lots of hints and tips in there. I can move my little laptop. I have my little table set up. So I've got all my things here. Things like rescuing the robot here, where you have to rescue your little robot, is a really nice little activity of driving the robot up the ramp. Now obviously hooking the robot is a more difficult task, but if you get up the ramp, then you're going to get points because you've attempted it. So you'll already have points on the board for getting up the ramp. So again, that moving forward, you know, is a really important part. We've done the collecting, or you saw the video for the collecting of the rocks and the fact that you get different numbers of points for that. These sort of things appear in a lot of Lego challenges versus Lego League and things like that. And to be honest, it's quite rare for everybody to get 3 back, so don't go thinking, oh, we can never get 3. It's a rarity, but it's exciting when it happens. Probably the most simple one and straightforward one is the satellite, in terms of pushing the satellite and raising the satellite, so I'd certainly make sure that you have a go at that. And also emphasize to students, if it doesn't work first time, then have another go at it. And we'll talk about how you can quickly access your programs from your Mindstorms robot. And I'm sure you've all come up with different approaches. I'll just talk about mine in a moment. But, you know, keep having a go at challenges and think, yeah, that's a definite challenge we could get 5 points off. Might take us 3 goes to do it, but let's put 3 attempts in to see if we can get 5 points on the board. Other ones, so the solar panel one here where you've got to rotate this round. This is about positioning your medium motor on the front, and there's a specific little Lego piece that's in the instructions, or you can build one to basically go in between there and then to wind to unfurl the solar panels. And it's not actually a tricky task in terms of getting the movement, but it can be quite tricky to get your robot to get to the right point every time, because sometimes the robot can move off left and move off right. But again, you've got 5 minutes, so have 2 or 3 goes at it. You know, the advantage of having more time is that you can try things out a little bit without panicking and thinking you're going to run out of time. I think first Lego League, they get about 1.5 minutes to do these tasks, and you're getting 5 minutes, which is great. We looked at launching the rocket there, so we won't do that one. But obviously it's about creating an impact there. And we've got the satellite that you have to place down, so you're going to start with the satellite and you're going to lift it across and you're going to place it and drop it down here. So you do need a mechanism at the front that can place it down. You also need to think a little bit about the order that you do the tasks in, because obviously if you do that first and then you want to do this task behind, you've got this great big satellite sticking in front of you there. So give that a little bit of thought. Now this one here, where you've got to assemble your crew, you'll notice there are little lines at the front, and you have a white block and you have, get it in shot, there we go, and you get a white block and you get a little black block there. So you can use the sensor to sense the different colors and get the robot to stop, or you can work the distance out and you can make it stop. And the one that you're going to rescue will be in the place as per the instructions, so you don't need to worry about them being swapped over. And just remember, you only have to bring one person back. So you might get away with that one with not using a sensor if children are finding it difficult to get the sensor to work. So I think, looking around my little board, that is pretty much everything that you've got to do. And as I say, there are opportunities on the board to use color sensors to stop robots, but actually you could do it as a more mechanical process of measuring and then feeding those measurements into your robot. So hopefully that makes sense. And any questions? And I like the fact that Rose has put a question up there saying, it's definitely the captain in orange we need to rescue for the task, is it? There was a major debate about this at the last of our robotics clubs. And I'll be honest, we just had a major debate about it, me and Erica, and we're saying it is the orange one. I think that's definitely going to be the case.
Yeah, it's the same in the as in the videos.
Same as in the videos, you're rescuing the person in orange. And again, you know, if there are misunderstandings that have happened, then on the day, just in a nice, calm way, express the misunderstandings that have happened. And, you know, it's about children succeeding. It's not finding mechanisms or reasons for them to fail. So, you know, just everyone will be calm and relaxed on the day. There's a set of rules, but, you know, if things have gone wrong and there's been a misunderstanding, we'll work through them, so don't worry about that.
John, there was that question about saving programs to the brick.
Yeah, so saving programs to the brick. There are different ways of doing it. So let me just put my screen up. You can see my screen now, and I'll just do a new little project here. And on here, when I write a little program, I can give all my programs names. So if I'd written a little program and my program was going to assemble the crew, seeing as that was the last one we talked about. Now, when I've got that program on my brick and I run it, it will appear by that name on my brick, on that first tabbed screen. Okay, so because it's on that first tab screen and it says assemble the crew, I could look on there. But if I actually keep creating new programs, and I give them names. So I have assemble crew, and I have, what else have I got? Rescue the robot. So there we go. Make sure my spelling is good because I'm online. Rescue robot. So I then write my little program for rescue robot. Because they're all in this little project here, when I save my project, it will appear in the second tab of my folder on my Mindstorms. So you should be able to have everything stored in one place on that second tab. Does that make sense to people? Yeah, so I've got my little Mindstorms here. It's difficult to see on a digital screen, but it's on this little second tab in a folder. Everything will be stored there. If somebody could, who's listened to that, could say that made sense, that would be great.
Yeah, John, so will it come up as project, and then within the project folder
Yes.
there's, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no way to change the name of the project, is there?
I think when you save it, and you're asking me a little question, but I'll check that out for you. Just 1 second. There you go. So I can save the project as.
And then it comes up as the name of the saved file.
Yeah. All right. Does that help? And that will transfer onto that second tab.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, because sometimes I do things instinctively and I might be saying them wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case, and certainly that's how it appears on mine. So I could have them all under that collective project name.
Okay. How do you use variables in the wheel revolutions?
Where am I reading that question from? Sorry.
Jay Bean, how do you use variables? We had a real struggle last week with recording the number of wheel revolutions to a variable.
Okay, if you're using a variable to record the number of wheels, why, ask the obvious question, JB, what are you actually looking to do on that one? Because that's generally not the way people are doing it, but I think I can understand why you might want to do it, but just for clarity, so I don't confuse people.
Yeah, what we were doing was we were moving forward, picking up the sort of practice brick, and then moving backwards. And what we wanted to do was get the robot moving forwards, and wherever we placed it, it always returns to the starting position. So if we got the number of wheel revolutions or something like that recorded, then we could just reverse back that far. Yeah.
So you can do that. I won't demonstrate it here, but if you put your email address, I'll send you that little solution, because it is, as you probably found, it's a more complex solution. And what I'd emphasize to people, because you've asked the question, I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you and answer it. But just remember that when the vehicle comes back, the vehicle doesn't have to stop, because once it's within the base, you can put your hand on it and stop it, and you wouldn't lose points for that.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, we were just trying to get it to sort of basically reverse back. We were thinking if we could, if we needed to change anything when we got to the event, if it was stored as a variable, we could just change that variable, or we could record it or something, and then it would just come back to the starting position.
Yeah, it is a more complex solution, and as I say, if you stick me your email, I'll do you the solution. I think, being nice about it, if I do it online, it might just confuse people.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, it's not a problem. I think I remember doing it when we were up in Chorley. It came up when, I don't know whether you were at Chorley training, but we did some training there, and somebody asked that question, and we did do it, but there are some little complexities to it.
Yeah, I think it was in Midlands, I think.
Yeah, it might have been the Midlands. All of
well, Stuart was in the Midlands.
Oh, right. He was Leicester, was he?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether they covered it in that session. Thanks, John. There's another
No worries.
question from D. Johansson. So, having problems with linking codes involving the gyro sensor, can you run through the code to use following a 90-degree turn using the gyro, then move forward, for example?
Okay, so no problem. So you want to make the gyro. So you want your robot to turn, and then you want it to do something else after 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So different ways of doing it. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
So the first thing I could do is to do a turn. Let me do a little turn. So I'm just switching my motors on, but one's going one way and one's going the other. Okay? Does that bit make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then if I was to say, well, do that, but keep doing it until my gyro sensor has an angle that's greater than or equal to, and you want it 90, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, get rid of a little bit so you can see it. And then, stop my motor, and then you can do what you want after that.
All right. We're forgetting to do the stop first, so just keep turning. So
Yeah, I know, and it's a funny thing. Sometimes you don't actually need to do a stop, and when I'm teaching, people say you don't need to do a stop. I always do stops because there are times that you need them. So yeah, do a little stop, and then you can continue your. Well, here you can obviously carry on programming in the way that you want.
perfect. Thank you.
All right, no worries. I've got that little variables question from Jay Dean. Brilliant. So I'll put that into my email. Erica, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm just trying to find any other questions, but I think it was more on the actual challenge. You know, for example, do we need to get all 4 wheels of the MSL robot off the ramp? So the answer to that was, all of the wheels have to be on Mars. So that's how you get the full points. I don't know if anybody else has any other specific questions. I'm having a look through the chat now. No.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. When you assemble the crew and you pick the guy up, do you have to get him to land in the station, or when the craft gets back, can you just pick him off quick before he falls back into space?
Just pick him off.
Yep. Yeah. As long as
you've got him back. You've got him back to base. You know, take him off with your hand and hold him high and celebrate.
Fantastic.
Erica, you would agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, definitely. I've got another question from Rosa. In terms of the presentation, do girls have access to a screen? Yes, they do have access to a screen. I've made sure that there's PowerPoint in all of the presentation rooms. So yes, there will be a PowerPoint and screen. And yeah, so PowerPoint is a really good aid, but you might want to, I don't know, bring a prop in or come up with a jingle or something just to make it a bit more fun and creative. But yeah, PowerPoint is available as well.
Okay, so in terms of the presentation then, is it supposed to be largely poster based?
No, you can use whatever you like. It's a kind of, so I guess it's a structured presentation, and I guess most teams will use PowerPoint. However, You know, you can just come up with a script and act out, you know, your research. You could come with, say, you know, like some sort of model. So you could come with a robot that's been made out of cardboard or whatever you want to do, and talk around it. You can come with posters, portfolios, notes, whatever your team wants to use to aid their presentation.
That's great, thank you. And they all have to speak?
No, they don't all have to speak. I mean, you might want to split the group into subgroups, so that they all have something to concentrate on. So you might just have, you know, a couple of people going and doing the presentation. Another thing is the robot design as well. You could bring a portfolio so that the students, it's more of an informal conversation with the judges. So they bring their robot, any attachments that they've designed throughout the process, and if they take their laptop so they can show the software as well. But if they want to, they can sort of put it together in a sort of folder portfolio, and you know, they can create notes so that it aids their conversation with the judge. Okay.
Erica, hello?
Hello, Henrietta.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
Right. Quick question. You know, at the base, there are numbers 1, 2, 3. Now, yesterday the kids were asking me if the robot has to always start from the center, or you can turn it at an angle to go and perform the mission.
Yeah, good question. You can start from anywhere in the base. So you don't have to start from position 1 or position 2. You could also construct your own kind of starting block, which they do that sometimes in First Lego League. So you might want to come with like a right angle of some sort, so that you know, if you place that right angle at certain points in the base, that you know that where your robot will be able to precisely start off from.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry. Are there any other questions? I've not had any more on the chat.
I'm just going through the chat.
I'm just going to go and have a look at the rules as well, just to see if there's any other things. And don't forget that there are FAQs on the website, so I think I might just have a look at those as well, just in case you haven't had a chance to have a look at those. So just things like, are we allowed to touch the robot in the base? Yes, you can touch the robot without incurring penalty points in the base.
Erica, can you put those up on the screen?
Yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Let me share my screen now. Oops, sorry, just a second. Can you see the FAQs now?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Great. Okay, so these are the FAQs that you can download. So you are allowed to touch the robot in the base without incurring penalty points. Does it? We were talking about, does the robot have to be completely within the base for you to touch it? But I think a reasonable part of the robot needs to be in the base to be able to sort of touch it and bring it out. But I understand that some people will have sort of larger constructions, so it might be overhanging the base. You can adjust the program during the competition, so I would recommend that you bring iPads or laptops or your devices that you can change the program on the day, and you can also show the robot design judge. I think John, that the iPads will be enough on the day to adjust the programming.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, obviously, if people are using things like variables, which we talked about earlier, you won't be able to do it with iPads. But I would have thought for most things it'll be absolutely fine.
Yep. Okay.
Can I just clarify something there?
Yep.
Are you allowing, so when you say the competition, do you mean during their 5-minute lesson, their 5-minute challenge time?
Sorry, I meant during the day. So
So within the 5 minutes, you can't have access to a computer.
Yeah, exactly. You won't, the clock doesn't stop running. What you've got there on the table is, what you have. You won't be adjusting the program.
Yeah,
So you can't use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, for example, and just, sort of change the programming on that element. Okay. So the satellite starts from the base. Can you add bits to the robot in the base? Yes, you can do. So you might want to just take elements off the robot in the base to complete a different challenge and put the new attachments on. And you can actually take off the intelligent brick from one base structure and put it onto another structure during the competition, if that's the way that you want to do it, rather than having attachments, if that makes sense.
But they can only use one intelligent brick.
Yeah, that's right, one intelligent brick. So in the first LEGO League, you can use any LEGO part, but to keep this competition fair, we allow you to use resources from the core set and the expansion set. Are there any?
Sorry, Erica. Can you clarify then? So that means then they can use both core sets, but just one brick.
Yeah.
So they could have pretty much two robots without the brick and just transfer one to the other, so they can actually use all 4 boxes effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the basis of those rules, that's what you could do.
Yeah, within those rules, the only rule is that you can only use one intelligent brick.
Right, thank you.
Okay. So presentation. So as we were saying before, you can use anything, any sort of visual resources you want. How long does the presentation need to be? Up to 5 minutes, and then there'll be a couple of questions from the judges. Is there a success criteria? Well, the score sheets are provided, so please make sure that you use these in your preparation. So the robot design is an informal conversation with the judges. So you can bring notes, and you are encouraged to bring designs and drawings and things like that to aid your conversations with the judges.
When it says an information conversation, is that an informal conversation?
Oh gosh, I meant to say informal conversation in that question, yeah.
No worries.
Okay, so the actual competition. Some people have got STEM ambassadors, so they are welcome to come. And if you do have more people that you want to bring, in a lot of cases, we do have capacity for people to come and observe and support. So if you want to just, confirm the numbers with me, that would be absolutely fine. Some events are actually at Big Bang near me's. So if you wanted your students to come and see other exhibitions and take part in other activities, there are Big Bang near me's in York and Glasgow. So more students are welcome to come. It starts at 10 o'clock. So you are able to arrive from 9 o'clock to set up. I know that some people will be travelling further. So I have had separate conversations with people. What we'll do is we'll timetable you in so that you're not starting right at the beginning, and we can, make sure that you can get your activities completed during the middle part of the day, just to allow time for travel. And how many teams? So it's bringing one team per school. But again, you can have extra students if you have capacity. Do students have to complete each element? Like I said before, you can have subgroups for each element. So that's absolutely fine, because there will be other things that they need to complete on the day. So they need to do some team building, teamwork activities. These will be different for each competition day, but it will take a lot of the day to complete some of the challenges. So on the day, you will have to manage that workload with the team, if that makes sense. So you'll get your challenge at the beginning of the day, and then between you, you'll say, right, okay, you'll look at each other's strengths and work on whatever challenge it is that you have on the day. So there will be a writing challenge, for example, and there'll be a timed activity, and there'll be some internet work. Also for this element, we will be uploading pictures and videos, and really just thinking about your team and its profile. So yeah, if you have a device that will take photographs and videos and connect to the internet, that would be really useful. And more details will be given on the day. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? If there are no more questions, I'm just wondering if there's any other words of wisdom that John wants to share with us in preparation for the day.
Well, I was just going to ask the question, because it's always funny when people are just listening, and maybe people could type a little bit of chat. Are people excited about the event?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think that's the important thing. It's the sense of excitement that goes with it. And children are great in these situations. They come across in a very supportive way, and I'm always amazed how they interact and they share ideas. And when something doesn't go wrong, the other team goes across to help. And that's really good. That's what it's about. We want it to be a learning process. We want a winner at the end, so to speak, but we also want people to have a good time. And I think that's the key message we need to get across to young people, that they're going to an event to take part, people, and like they're just thinking, playing, sense of excitement, and those get them lots of points on the board. And we talked about the presentations. The key thing to a presentation is to make your audience sit up and listen. And I think that's an important thing to say, because you can probably imagine the number of presentations that judges will see on a day. I'm not saying that they'll get sleepy, but something different, something to make them go, whoa, okay, I'll really tune in here, because that's what we want people to do, to do things like, PowerPoints, but role plays and active conversations, and maybe a bit of audience participation, who knows, but a whole range of ideas. And I can't wait to be there.
Neither can I. Brilliant. Well, if anybody does have any other questions, then please email them across and we'll be happy to answer as best as we can. But we look forward to seeing you on the day, and yeah, I'll end the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.